we've been very focused on how to connect UCS to an upstream fiber channel fabric. However, what if we just have maybe a handful of UCS servers and one storage array that needs to attach to the UCS? Well, in that case, we can't actually directly attach it to the fabric interconnects. We don't have to go up to the network. So in this nugget, we're going to cover exactly how to configure UCS for storage port connectivity. In order to configure storage ports, we're going to want to be on the Equipment tab and then click on the Fabric Interconnects. So we'll start with Fabric Interconnect A, and if we scroll down here in the Actions list, we're going to find Set FC Switching Mode. See, what we're trying to accomplish is this. In some environments, when we have the Fabric Interconnects, and each Fabric Interconnect traditionally connects up to a SAN fabric, so we'd have SAN A and SAN B from a fiber channel perspective. And the purpose of this is because I have other servers and other storage arrays up here to connect to. And of course, the more of these that I have, the more necessary a fiber channel fabric is. But what if my environment is small enough where I don't have any other servers? I only have, I could have a couple of storage arrays, but I don't have a whole lot going on here. And really, wouldn't it be nice if I could just get rid of this fabric, don't have to purchase additional fiber channel switches, and I directly attach these storage arrays to the Fabric Interconnect. So they're just hanging out down here. Really, technically, they'd be connected to both Fabric Interconnects in this fashion. And this is exactly what the storage port is configured on UCS to accomplish for us. So the storage port is a downstream interface that's going to enable us to have storage connectivity directly on the Fabric Interconnects. Now, in order for the Fabric Interconnects to be able to switch between, we'll just say this is a server, right? So we need to be able to switch traffic, fiber channel traffic, between the servers and the storage array. We need to enable the actual FC switching mode, remembering that by default, Fabric Interconnects run in what's called NPV operation. If that's not familiar to you, then I'd highly recommend that you check out the storage networking skill, where we cover exactly how NPV operation works. Okay, so let's go ahead and configure FC switching mode. And we are given the warning that this Fabric Interconnect has to reload. So we're going to say yes, and we're going to reload this, say OK. And up here in the pending activities, we actually have to manually do this, so we can cancel out of this, go over to the Fabric Interconnects tab, see, OK, yes, we are waiting for the user to do a reboot, so we say reboot now, and yes. Okay, and now we wait for it to come back up. We could go do Fabric Interconnect B right now, but keep in mind, we do want to keep one of the Fabric Interconnects online. So for now, we're just going to wait until Fabric Interconnect A is operational. Okay, so now Fabric Interconnect A is running in FC mode switch. We see that right here. And so we do need to configure unified ports, by the way. We've already done this configuration before, so we go in here and we take a look and we see that we do indeed have some purple interfaces. Purple is fiber channel, blue would be Ethernet. If you haven't done this step yet, you will also need to do this. So we use the slider to change how many ports that we want. In this case, again, 6 is plenty for our purposes. We hit OK, and again, that's another reboot, by the way. And so we might want to do that together as opposed to two separate operations. Just keep that in mind. So next, we're going to take one of those fiber channel interfaces, right-click, and say Configure as a fiber channel storage port. And by doing so, we say OK. Now, we're going to need to add a vSAN to this interface, but before we do that, we actually have to configure that vSAN as a storage vSAN. So, we're going to come over to the SAN tab, and under the SAN header, we have Storage Cloud. We expand this and look at Fabric A, and we can right-click here and create a storage vSAN. So in our case, maybe we'd create vSAN 11. Let's call it vSAN 11. No fancy names needed. We do want to enable fiber channel zoning. This is very important that we have this enabled. And so Fabric A is where we're creating this. The vSAN ID will be 11. And again, we need a high VLAN ID, preferably something we're not going to use in our environment. So, 4011, something in that range where, we're not actually using that outside of the UCS space. So we come back to the Equipment tab, double-click on this interface, and we see that we have a vSAN dropdown. And here's where we would enable vSAN 11, say Apply, yes to the warnings, and OK. So there we go. We have configured a storage port, and we have applied the storage vSAN on top of it. So next, we want to do the same configuration on Fabric Interconnect B, at which point we can directly attach our fiber channel storage arrays to the Fabric Interconnects. Fiber channel storage ports offer a great way to maximize our UCS investment by allowing us to directly attach storage array to the Fabric Interconnects. Now remember that the process for this is to first convert the Fabric Interconnect to FC switch mode, which does require a reboot, and then we create the storage vSAN, configure a port for storage port, and then apply that vSAN to the port. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.